Welcome in everybody to the fifth part of my 12-part rookie profile series. Today, we're sticking with the running back position in this very strong running back class, and we're going to be talking about my rookie 1.05 in one quarterback leagues and my 108 or 109 in superflex leagues, and that's UCLA running back Zach Charbonnet. Taking a look at Charbonnet's college career, he originally started at Michigan as a freshman in 2019 and actually immediately became the Wolverines' RB1 over Hassan Haskins, rushing for 726 yards and 11 touchdowns on 149 carries. He also added an additional 30 yards on 8 receptions, so not much going on in the receiving game, but it's great to see some immediate production in year one, especially considering the fact that he had a knee procedure in the spring of 2019 that prevented him from participating in spring practices. And he even said he was never just fully healthy as a freshman. So it is impressive to see those numbers as a freshman in 2019. But unfortunately, that didn't translate through to his sophomore season, as he only carried the ball 19 times for 124 yards and a touchdown in a shortened 6-game season due to the pandemic. Overall, this year was really just weird, not only for Charbonnet, but Michigan as a team, honestly, the Big Ten, just in general. It's all really, really weird because of COVID. So I'm kind of throwing this season out, not really worried about the lack of production, especially because this season helped push Charbonnet to enter the transfer portal, go back home to UCLA, and that's a huge win, I think, for his stock, because at UCLA, as a junior in 2021, he immediately received 200 carries, rushing for over 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns, while also adding an additional 200 yards on 24 receptions. And after that season, many people thought that he was going to declare for the NFL draft, and he would have easily been a top 5 running back in last year's class, but he decided to stay one more season, and it was definitely a season. 1,360 yards, 14 touchdowns on under 200 carries, plus 321 yards on 37 receptions through the air. It was the type of season that we needed to see from a senior back in the Pac-12, and he delivered on everything that we wanted from him and more, honestly, in 2022. So moving over to the analytics, let me remind you of my 10 marker system for evaluating running back prospects, which is just a series of baselines that I want players to hit based on what previously successful players in the NFL had coming out of college. And for reference, for this year's class, Bijan Robinson will hit on all 10 of these. My RB2, Jahmyr Gibbs, will be at 6 out of 10, though we talked about how he was just short of being at 8 out of 10 markers in his prospect video. And my RB3, Sean Tucker, is essentially a second-round pick away from being a 9 out of 10 marker player. Before continuing, though, I wanted to mention that if you like this content and want to support what we're doing on this channel, please consider joining our YouTube memberships, where you will gain access to additional videos every single month, including a bank of 7 videos that you can watch already. Plus, we will be starting exclusive live streams when we have enough members, and I just posted a link to a Google Sheet that houses all of the data that I'm looking at for my marker system, everything that you want for running backs and wide receivers. It's all in that Google Sheet. So if you want access to all of that, check out the link in the description down below. Join the bonus content tier, and thank you guys for checking it out. So currently, Zach Charbonnet comes in at 6 out of 10 markers with the potential to go to 7 out of 10 if he is drafted in the first or second round. And that's a really good place to be as a second-tier running back in any draft class. I mean, that's where players like Todd Gurley, Darren McFadden, Ray Rice, Joseph Adai, Willis McGahee all were. Even guys like Darius Geis, Sony Michel, Rashad Penny were in here too as players that we liked coming out of college recently, but just didn't hit in the NFL for various reasons. What's nice about Charbonnet too is that we're not missing any markers in his profile besides draft capital, of course, right now, because it's the end of March. But he participated fully at the combine. He played 3 full complete seasons in college. We're not missing anything and having to play the assumption game on would he or would he not have hit these markers if he did this one thing, like we did with Jahmyr Gibbs and also did with Sean Tucker. Charbonnet just is what he is, and what I think he is a really good running back. He's 6 foot, 214 pounds, runs a 4.53 40, which is really good for that size. He had elite production at UCLA and even showed off really good receiving ability as well. The only reason he's down at 7 out of 10 markers is because he didn't have the early production at Michigan that I'm looking for, which he was 250 yards short as a freshman, and then COVID happened and it kind of just messed up 2020. He also didn't average over 6 yards per carry throughout his entire career, but he did average over 6 yards per carry at UCLA, and his BMI is not over 30. He's at 29.0 on the dot. So he's a really good back based on everything that he did hit, and then was just shy of being an elite prospect had he hit on those other markers that he was just short on. If I'm looking for one specific comp for him in the NFL, it's actually Melvin Gordon. Gordon was also a 4-year player with little but promising production early in his career at Wisconsin, then just absolutely licked the Big Ten on fire in his final 2 years. They're both basically identical sizes at 6 foot, 6'1", 215 pounds. Both ran a low 4.5 40. Both have similar broad jumps and verticals that landed them around the exact same burst score. Charbonnet does beat Gordon in the receiving game. Gordon just really wasn't utilized that way at Wisconsin, though we saw that he could be utilized that way in the NFL. And Charbonnet also had way more missed tackles and yards after contact than Melvin Gordon too, according to Pro Football Focus. Gordon then landed in a fantastic spot with the LA Chargers, who needed a workhorse, and Gordon filled that void really nicely. And ideally, that's exactly what happens here with Zach Charbonnet, just more likely in the second round than the first round, like Melvin Gordon, who was the 15th overall pick in 2015. But where is that landing spot for Charbonnet where he can just immediately fill a void and be a team's workhorse? And to me, I think that there are 2 spots here that I really want Charbonnet to go to. Also, the same 2 spots that I really want my RB3 Sean Tucker to go to, and that's Miami and Atlanta, but especially Miami. They have a huge void that's currently filled by 2 older backs on small contracts that Charbonnet would have no problem whatsoever in vaulting over either of them immediately to be the Dolphins' RB1. Atlanta is also nice too because they want to run the ball, and he would just be a better version of what Tyler Algier is if he got that draft capital. So those 2 teams, I think, are prime landing spots for an early day 2 rookie. Either it's Sean Tucker or it's, in this case, Zach Charbonnet. The other landing spots that I would love for him are all those spots that are currently filled by an aging veteran. You're looking at like Cincy, Minnesota, Tennessee, Arizona, New Orleans, LA Chargers, all teams that have shown that they're willing to draft a running back early when they need one in recent history. They're all teams that have shown a willingness to feed one running back extremely heavily, and all teams that currently have a workhorse, but that workhorse is aging out. They're probably too expensive right now for contracts, maybe has health or other issues going on, and they can just hit reset on a younger, cheaper, just as good, if not better, running back right now in Zach Charbonnet. I think Minnesota and Cincy especially, as both Joe Mixon and Dalvin Cook are on the chopping block, both have seen upwards of 300 plus touches over multiple seasons with those teams, with really good receiving usage as well. I think those teams and those offenses are just so ideal for any rookie, let alone just Zach Charbonnet specifically. I will also add here that landing spot and draft capital will play a role in my final post-draft rookie rankings, both overall and within the running back position specifically. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Zach Charbonnet jumps Sean Tucker as my rookie RB3 after the draft, and even becomes that coveted back that we all want, we all try to trade up to go get after Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and JSN go, potentially even going ahead of Gibbs or ahead of JSN as well. So if you like Charbonnet a lot now and he is becoming your guy, I would be trying to move up in your rookie drafts now before the NFL draft, and that hype is just through the roof because he did land somewhere fantastic. But if you found this video first and you missed my profile on my 1.04 and RB3 in this class, Sean Tucker, and why I think he's the most underrated prospect in this entire class and is ahead of Zach Charbonnet for me right now, then you can watch that video right up here.